Goodneighbor, a settlement founded on lawlessness in 2240 as low-life scum were exiled from Diamond City. I've seen it all in this town. The lies, the chem peddling, the darkness that lurks in every shadow. But I'm no saint either. I've got my demons, my past that haunts me like a specter in the night. But there is always a home for you here in Goodneighbor. Crime is only a currency. Who am I, you ask? Well, let me get to that. I had it all once. The perfect nuclear family. Beautiful wife, beautiful child, a British robot butler, the modern day American dream. But that was until the Great War, 23rd of October 2077, 9:42 AM, Saturday morning. I will never forget it. Shoved into a vault like test rats for the new makeup product, sent to our undeniable death. Frozen like the lemonade pops little Sally would sell on her front lawn, left to walk this god-forsaken wasteland alone. I've never deemed myself a man of muscle, more of a sly fox with a silver tongue, and like a lady of the night, luck was just a part of it all. Some would say this was a sort of a tragic novel, but as cliche as it sounds, I didn't choose this life. The life chose me. War never changes. Can you beat Fallout 4 as the Silver Shroud? Arising from the depths of my depression, like a good law-abiding citizen, I followed the path to sanctuary only so I could check out my godly jawline and Codsworth's metal plates. Who would have thought being so good-looking would mean that you could turn yourself on? Maybe that was my superpower. Asking Codsworth if he was okay like Michael Jackson in Smooth Criminal, I remembered that I left the snack in the fridge 200 years ago and put the toaster back where it truly belongs, just like my wife. After watching blowflies ejaculate all over my butler, it was time to cut shapes down to Concord to see if your friendly neighborhood masochist Preston Myers had learnt to kill yet. And like a pedo at a Wiggles concert, I was left disappointed at the fact that majority of the audience is actually adults. At this moment, I would like to point out that no, I can't kill anything because I'm yet to get bitten by a man in a trench coat, just like how Peter Parker got bitten by a spider to become Spider-Man. With 10 minutes of my life wasted, gravy finally lathered my meat, which meant I was able to get the best perk in the game. Idiot Savant. Oh, wee wee. Who would have thought being exceptionally brain dead would grant you more XP than 10 intelligence? After all the hard work of watching death, it was time for a light snack at the Drumlin Diner where I used my extraordinary chiseled jawline to convince Trudy that giving me more caps would mean that she could too have a jawline just like mine. I watched from a window as Trudy and her drug-addicted slave did my bidding. Maybe this was my superpower. Injecting my face with a dose of Botox to keep my 200-year-old facial structure from collapsing, I was off to get a free session of laser treatment where my perfectly shaped face worked its magic once again. My final free dose of XP was given, I was attacked by a light, and wondered if I was bitten by a lady in the red trench coat, would I turn into her red trench coat? As if Hubris Comics was a place I never go to, I head to Hubris Comics. A place of reading, a place of intelligence, a place of angry burn victims jealous that I have a signed picture of a man in a trench coat looking roguishly handsome as he holds his peace. Even his jawline is impeccable. The costume was mine, the toy gun acquired. Was this my tragic becoming a superhero story beginning? Gangbanged by raisin men. My life flashed before my eyes. Voices of the Silver Shroud echoed in my head. A warm hand touches my knee. Todd. Is that you? Disappointed at the revelation that it was indeed not Todd, I proceeded to extort the most innocent, happiest, nuclear abused man in the Commonwealth for something that I had in my pocket this whole time. Ladies and gentle boys, I was now able to flash unsuspecting victims in public.
Yeah, boy.
It was a Thursday evening, rain tapping against the window like 1,000 tiny fingers. I sat back in my weathered leather chair, the tendrils of smoke from a cigarette swirling lazily in the air, reminiscing on the journey I had embarked on to get here. My Pip-Boy lighting up the room like some sort of bat signal in the sky. But I'm from the Commonwealth, so I wouldn't know anything about that. Kent's voice embraces my eardrums. There is trouble afoot. Tonight, the Silver Shroud loses his crime-fighting virginity. Wayne Delancey, a cold-blood killer so I've been told, killed Miss Salmi and her kid with his own bare hands for a lousy few caps. An act of desperation perhaps. finding him down an alleyway hunched over what it seems to be another one of his victims, muttering to himself. I hold my trusty lady close to my chest, shooting off warning shots just so I could look him dead in the eyes as I served him true justice. That Thursday evening changed my life, cleaning the streets of the cockroaches that lingered, making sure my name was to be known in every shadow of the underbelly in Goodneighbor. But sometimes being the good guy isn't what it's made out to be, and the closest people to you always seem to get hurt. Revenge is bittersweet. Just like a crackhead wanting to suck a dick for $10, I was back at the Museum of Freedom to show Presto Myers how to truly kill humans like a psychopath, and have them bow to you like the god you are even in death. Enticing Preston with his next meal and giving Mama Murphy the lapdog she always wanted. As if I had any other option, I agreed to help the gravy train because I am the true law-abiding, crime-fighting citizen. Which is where the first issue of being the sexiest man in the Commonwealth comes into play. The ammo commodity of the SMG is like Todd convincing you that a game about space has 16 times the detail, costing 16 times the retail. It's fundamentally garbage. So me, being the most intellectual human being to ever walk this earth, did a little bit of research. Turns out nobody knows. So yes, the Silver Shroud is indeed a film noir detective, meaning yes, I can pop some bitches with a pistol, which to be fair doesn't help the matter too much as pistols suck big fat dick. Watching from above like a caped crusader who is a bat of some sort, to which I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm from the Commonwealth, I hatched the perfect superhero plan. Now, if anyone was to tell you that Deathclaws can't get in the corner store, that would be an absolute lie. After what seemed like hours of cinematic geniusness, Barney was finally slayed and all the kids in his backyard were free from the hellscape of singing for adults pretending to be dinosaurs. Justice had been served once again. A red trenchcoat lady tried to sell me drugs, I pissed on Jennifer's desk like a dog, extorted Ellie of her life savings, and put my detected skills to good use. Lucky enough for Kyle, he was in good hands. Now, Papa John's House of Fun, or as I like to call it, the only place where you can get an abundance of 45mm bullets, is proudly brought to you by lukewarm Nuka-Cola and weight shaming. Papa John's is the place where I was supposed to get a fine collection of SMG ammunition, but it ended in me using more than I found. How fabulous indeed. So it was back to trolley bashing and pistol whipping burn victims as I watched the mysterious man steal my kill, which led to a bottle of whiskey and a night of regrettable decisions. Italian genocide was like squirting too much pasta sauce out of the bottle. The mysterious man appears once again as if he was into a bit of dead man cucking, and I performed the most perfectly calculated distraction known to mankind. Sleep tight, my sweet prince. Darla possessed no threat as I convinced her to rub off my perfectly defined face, but that doesn't mean justice can't be served, for I am the Batman of the Commonwealth. As I indulge myself in my addiction to half-smoked wet cigars and dirty ashtrays, my eyes witness something of beauty. Two apex predators going head-to-head, a show of dominance, a dance of if there was a female Deathclaw nearby, she would be wanting my seed. However, this didn't last too long as the defiance of traffic barriers was more important. Knowing that justice needed to be served, for I am the most beautiful man in the whole of the Commonwealth and only beautiful things are allowed to survive, I slaughtered an endangered species in the name of self-defense, with one simply realizing its own fate. Even a dog knows he must bow before me in acceptance of my pure beauty. This is justice. Now, there was nothing special about Fort Hagen this time around, only the fact that the mysterious man suffered from a dementia-induced stroke, which he decided to come back to show me that he was the more superior trenchcoat wearing man. This was internal suffering for me, for I was the Silver Shroud. I was the one with the tragic backstory. I had gone through pain and misery to become the savior, but it turns out I'm just a shadow of a man who just randomly appears. So I grabbed the nearest trolley and cried myself to death. Maybe throwing coffee cups on top of coffee pots and hating balding men is more my thing. We will never know. After my failed attempt at trying to sedate Amari so I don't have to go through a cereal box's memories, I then threatened her with a screwdriver, which meant only one thing. I had to go into a cereal box's memories. Which was fine with me because I met a man as roguishly as handsome as I am. Suspiciously very similar looking. But that piercing stare, my god. Learning that I should not quit my day job to become a cleaner, I got nuclear assaulted by Bruce Banner as I went AFK to hydrate my lips with water, which is sort of like watering plant soil when it's dry, but imagine my lips instead of the dirt. Inconvenienced by my overly moist mouth, I decided I need the pleasure of someone else's misery, which didn't end too well. So I decided to bring chaos to the crater of Adam as Sister Layla stared through my soul.
Give him that hawk too and spit on that name.
And Mother drowned herself. Realizing that I may serve justice in the wrong way, I left the children of Adam to clean up my mess and made a promise that I deep down inside know I wouldn't do. But it made me feel good agreeing either way. For you know, I am the Silver Shroud.
Murder me!
Greentech Genetics. A towering monolith of steel. I had my eyes on this place for weeks. A name whispered in the dark corners of the city. A place known for secret genetic manipulation experiments, but in recent years had been a harbour for the Gunners' salvage operation. They didn't really know what they were playing with. I mean, how could they? They are just a bunch of chemmed up wannabe militiamen. I'm surprised it took this long for the Corsair to clue on about the rogue synth being tucked away. To this day, I still ask myself, who knows what would have happened if I didn't make it to take out Z247 and retrieve the Corsair chip. But what I can say for sure is if it wasn't for the railroad kooks, I wouldn't be where I am today. After having my suspicions confirmed about Dr. Carrington and wondering if Tinker Tom realizes that I know, I was finally able to be the true deliverer of justice. Now, at this point in time, you're all most likely confused with what is going on, but that's okay because I am as well very confused. So I joined the railroad to further my confusion and undoubtedly confirm that they are indeed the most stupidest faction in the game. It's not because the use of lamps for a discrete signal in an area with no lighting would be like pointing a 10,000 lumen torch in your eyes obvious. It's not because Desdemona outright refuses to feed my nicotine habit, which results to me eating from a dirty ashtray. It's simply because Deacon is bald. Serving justice in a bush as Desdemona discusses her secret about how she really hates trains. It was time to throw objects at the monkey enclosure, meet father, son, man-child, and begin the greatest infiltration known to mankind. A quest path so ambiguous that Todd himself to this day is still trying to crack the Da Vinci Code of its purpose. So off I went to have secret meetings in open spaces, which obviously wasn't getting overheard by anyone. Okay. Mistakes were definitely made with joining the railroad.
Surprise, motherfucker!
But at least I could provide Glory with additional protection as she drinks from an empty cup. Equipping the runaway synths with the only weapon they would need, I was off to warn the Institute of what was to come. But they didn't take too kindly to that for whatever reason and started some kind of wall clipping protest. Surely no one will find out about this. I told father his technology was amazing. He liked that. He told me about a synth that needed to be saved, but instead I got distracted by robot racing and human sacrifice. He liked that. I killed myself. Again, he liked that. Bunker Hill. Indeed is a bunker in a hill, but a tiny hill. Not a large hill, something along the lines of the hill Bilbo Baggins resides under. This section can be all summed by this right here. Days, months, years went by as I played my part as a double agent for the railroad, a true marksman of the pistol. I was so deep into the anal cavity of the Institute that stealing the beryllium agitator and breaking both my arms fighting wasn't enough for the choo-choo trains. Broadcasting to the whole of the Commonwealth that the Institute is taking over wasn't good enough. Activating the reactor for infinite power where I could have planted a fusion charge instead to save another hour of stupidity wasn't good enough. Circling Will Smith and pistol slapping him in the face, again, not good enough. It literally took them until the Brotherhood of Steel kicked down their doors to be like, Jesus. wait, where is he going? So like the gallant knights that we were, Tinker Tom, the Silver Shroud, the Dream Team, the dynamic duo storming Cambridge Police Station in the name of whatever the hell the railroad actually stand for. Jesus. We were the unstoppable force. Well, I mean, I was the unstoppable force. God damn it, Tom, you had one job. Beacon's life was also ended swiftly as he appeared out of the blue to give me a helping hand, simply because he is bald. Not only did I learn extremely long loading times appear like R. Kelly when you say pee on me 3 times in the mirror at midnight, but also the fact that Tom suspiciously flies like a Brotherhood of Steel vertibird pilot. Suspicious indeed. So wasting no time, I placed the charges, used the sheer power of invisibility to get a laser bukkake by Adolf Maxim and his henchmen, and just like burning through steel beams of jet fuel, victory was mine. The final push was a symphony of chaos, and by chaos I mean the railroad storming the Institute is like throwing a wet tissue at someone who is pointed a gun at you. Utterly a waste of time. For all that I had done for them, the only gratitude that they could give my perfectly moisturized chiseled face was the satisfaction of self-defense against a reluctant man I convinced to join the Institute, which shows that being smart really doesn't pay off after all. Racing to the reactor core as if I was about to shit myself, I aimlessly threw grenades through the window and doorways in hopes to create a distraction as I waited for backup, only to realize that yet again they are more useless than my amputee grandma trying to walk over to me. So I did the most heroic thing that I'd ever done in this lifetime. I was finally going to live up to the name of the Silver Shroud. I had finally found the true meaning of life. I ran, and I ran fast. The reactor core was my saving grace because, good God, was I over the railroad's shit. Sean, as per usual, was nothing to me, leaving me more speechless than ever.
You're a robot.
Acting suspicious again, Tinker with my stinker Tom saved a child robot, and I was able to hit the big green button, putting a stop to this madness once and for all. And by madness, I mean the railroad.